Everything looks normal. It's probably just stress. Have you tried losing a little weight? This is normal for your age. Maybe you're just doing too much. Have you considered that it might be anxiety? If you have sat in a doctor's office knowing something was wrong with your body and been handed one of those sentences and sent home, I need you to hear something. It was not in your head. And the fact that you started to wonder if it was, that's the part that we need to talk about today. Now, I'm going to say the thing you might need someone to finally say to you out loud. Ready? You were right. You knew your body. You knew something changed. You knew something was off. Something wasn't you, and you were right the whole time. Being told everything's normal when you feel anything but is one of the most maddening, isolating experiences there is. And no one names how much damage it does, because it doesn't leave you just without answers. It leaves you like doubting your own mind. So I want to give you permission right now to be angry about that. Not bitter, just to stop swallowing it. You spent years being made to feel dramatic and difficult for describing your own experience accurately. You have every right to be angry and every right to stop doubting yourself. Because here's what being dismissed over and over and over actually does to a woman. And that's the part that breaks my heart, man. The first time you push back a little, right? Then the second time you begin to soften it. And then like by the fifth and sixth time, you've been told it's stress, it's in your head. So you stop bringing it up. You decide, okay, maybe they're right. Maybe you are being dramatic. You start editing your own symptoms, before you even say them out loud. You start shrinking them down so you don't sound crazy. And that, a woman trained to just trust the most reliable instrument she knows, her own body, right? The sense of her own body. That's real damage. Not the missed answer, but the lost trust in herself. That's the problem. So let's talk about why this keeps happening, because I don't think most of these doctors are bad people. I think most of them genuinely want to help. And they're working inside a system that hands them about 9 minutes with you and a specific set of tools. And here's the key. These tools were built to catch disease, okay? Picture the standard workup. Like imagine it like a fishing net with big holes in it. That net is designed to catch the big fish, the serious, nameable, diagnosable conditions. And thank goodness for it. I mean, if you've caught a big fish, you want to caught if you've got it, right? But what most women in your shoes have isn't a big fish. It's like a whole lot of small ones, a state of depletion that swims right through the holes in that net. So your tests come back normal, not because nothing's wrong, but because the net was never built to catch what you have. So we didn't find anything, or there's nothing there. They're not the same sentence. They never were, honestly. And what that net keeps missing has a name, at least the way I work with it, okay? It's a body that's been stuck in survival mode for years, running up what I call the survival tax, sliding the body further and further into debt. And that state doesn't show up as one dramatic number on a standard test. It shows up as you, exhausted, foggy, not yourself, gaining weight, not sleeping. It's like a dozen small fish that each look minor by themselves, right? And add up to a whole system, right? They add up to a woman whose whole system is running on empty. The body-led method actually starts exactly where that net stops. Not with, is she diseased, but with, what state is her body actually in? And what has it been trying to tell her the whole time? So let me give you some practical stuff, because I don't want to just hand you the validation and then leave you there, right? That doesn't work. So 2 things for the next time you go into an appointment. First, write it down before you go. Your symptoms, when they started, how they actually affect your day. Put it on plain language, 1 page, not because you should have to prove you're not exaggerating, but a woman who walks into that doctor's appointment with, here's what's happening in writing, is much harder to like wave off than one who's describing it in a flustered moment. So, second, you're allowed to ask the one question that reopens the entire conversation with your doctor. Okay. And that question is, I understand the test came back normal. So what would explain how I actually feel? Say it kindly. Just say it. Because normal labs was supposed to be the beginning of the conversation, not the end of it. And you're allowed to keep it going. One of our clients who came in, her name was Sarah. And gosh, she was like dismissed for years. And here she was a very successful real estate executive. She had a lot on her plate, but she was just like, she knew she was feeling off. And every time that she'd go to the doctor, she'd ask for her blood work. She'd be like, there's got to be something going on. And it would come back and they said, no, sorry, Sarah, everything is really normal. And I remember when she sat down with me for our consultation on Zoom, she's like, hey, Dr. Z, I feel like I'm being gaslit here because I know that something isn't happening and I know that something isn't going on that's supposed to. And I remember once she had started with us and we do this entire full health history, from I like to know everything about my clients, like, their mother's health, whether they were a vaginal birth, a C-section, whether they breastfed, what their childhood was like, you name it. We go through everything in detail. And finally, I looked at everything and there was like this very clear pattern of what was going on for her in terms of one of the things for her was insulin resistance. So she had all of these signs and symptoms of all these things that were going on, and her blood work showed a normal A1C. But what happens with a normal A1C, your A1C is the average. So it's not catching if you're spiking and then crashing and you're spiking and crashing because the average is still here. Once we resolved that, I remember she looked at me, she's like, oh my gosh, you're so right. This is exactly what's happening. And we resolved it. But for years, she just went in and no one was actually correcting the underlying root cause of what was happening. Now, I'll tell you what I don't want for you because I've watched it happen too many times. I don't want you to become the woman who's given up asking, the one who's been turned away so often because she's like decided like, all right, listen, it's not worth the humiliation. I'm not bringing it up again. So she just quietly manages and shrinks and calls it fine. Because when you stop trusting the own read of your body, you stop advocating for it. And a woman who has stopped advocating for herself can go years, like whole years, feeling worse and worse and worse while everyone around her assumes that she's okay because she stopped saying that she was otherwise. And that has a real cost. That has a real cost to it over time because things begin to accumulate. You never want to get past that point of no return. Okay. And the real cost of being dismissed enough times is that like forgetting out, like forget it. No one missed the answer. So don't become a woman who stopped fighting for herself. I refuse to let that be where your story lands. Okay. So here's what I want most for you to take away. Your body is never the liar in the story. No, it's always the one telling the truth. Every symptom that you were dismissed for was real information. And the fact that a 9-minute appointment and a net full of holes couldn't catch it doesn't make it less real. It just means that you need someone looking with different tools, asking different questions. You're not crazy. You're never crazy. You're a woman with an accurate read of her own body in a system that's not set up to hear it. And the moment that you start trusting that instrument, your body, your own sense of yourself, you are back on the road to actually getting better. Okay. And that's really important. Now, here's a place to start that treats you like a reliable narrator on your own body. I have created a 21-day nervous system calibration challenge where you're like reconnecting, paying attention, like becoming one. I always say, I joke around. I'm like, oh, I often catch myself. I'm sometimes like a head, like running all over the place without even a body, but we got to bring those two connected. So you guys, the 21-day nervous system calibration, you can catch the link in the comments. It is go.thisisdrzcom.com/nervous system. And it's, what is it? I send you 2 text messages for 3 weeks that are designed to help you begin to come back down into your body, down out of that very state, okay, that keeps you, the tests keep missing, right? It's free, you guys. It's in the link. Go ahead, go and check it out for yourself. And of course, send this to a woman who's been feeling made that it's all in her head. Send her this. She might have been waiting for a long time for something like this. So that's what I got for you today. This is Dr. Z.